I do think that alone is music to Bengals fans' ears because, think about it, the past 2 months they've been celebrating having sexy Dexy in Cincinnati, and now you have Greg Cosell saying he's a top 3 defensive tackle. And we've hit on Dexter Lawrence from a bunch of different angles, but this one is a bit different because it comes from Greg Cosell of NFL Films, and he's one of the best film analysts out there and had major praise for Dexter Lawrence and said at his ceiling, at his peak, he certainly can still be a top 3 defensive tackle in the league.
Yeah, well, when you score 30-plus points and lose those games, you have to invest in your defense. So we'll see how all that plays out. I've always liked Brian Cook. I think he stabilizes the safety position. We'll see who plays the other safety. Jordan Battle has been very up and down in his short career with the Bengals. They brought in Kyle Duggar. I think that'll be a training camp battle. Duggar's a certain kind of player, obviously much better closer to the line of scrimmage. But obviously, if Dexter Lawrence is Dexter Lawrence, I mean, that really shores up the interior because at his best, he's a top 3 D tackle in the league.
If Dexter Lawrence is Dexter Lawrence, and by the way, that's Greg Cosell on the Ross Tucker podcast. Awesome analysis there on the Bengals. But if Dexter Lawrence is Dexter Lawrence, he's a top 3 defensive tackle. He's going to matter in the interior of the Bengals defensive front. Let's just start here. An unbiased, completely separate entity that has no reason to go out of his way to praise Dexter Lawrence. I do think that alone is music to Bengals fans' ears because, think about it, the past 2 months they've been celebrating having sexy Dexy in Cincinnati, and now you have Greg Cosell saying he's a top 3 defensive tackle.
Yeah, I'm still a little upset over what we talked about on the show yesterday at CBS and Pete Prisco's rankings, where he had him as the 8th best interior defensive lineman. Because, yeah, absolutely, Dexter Lawrence is easily top 3. The numbers do not lie. He has taken on the highest double team rate over the last handful of years in the league. And especially look at that 2024 season, he was double teamed almost 64% of the time and still produced at such a high level with his 9 sacks, and great numbers that season for the Giants. And one of my favorite stats and tweets that I absolutely love going back to is Warren Sharp had posted this earlier this year. Pressures when aligned at nose tackle since 2022. 108, Dexter Lawrence. You have to scroll really, really, really far down this tweet to get to Vita, the next closest at 32. It shouldn't even be a conversation. Dexter Lawrence, easily top 3 interior defensive lineman.
That is crazy. Vita Vea, who's awesome. Dexter Lawrence has 76 more pressure.
Yeah.
That's wild.
It's insane. And I remember when that tweet rolled out as soon as the Bengals traded for him, and I couldn't believe how long I was scrolling. The gap is just startling. And obviously Dexter had a down year from Dexter Lawrence standards last season, but even in 2025, coming off an elbow injury, playing on a team that was really hopeless going into the season in the New York Giants, he was still the 9th overall defensive tackle per PFF, 7th in pass rush grade. So if we accept that is an injured down year Dexter Lawrence, well, let's look at the healthy years. 2024, he was number 2. 2023, he was number 1. 2022, he was number 1. When Dexter Lawrence is healthy and productive, he's the best in the league. And if he's not the best, then you can make an argument for maybe 1, maybe 2 more guys. He's certainly top 3. And hearing it from someone like Greg Cosell is a huge sigh of relief for Bengals fans because we all know it and we all want to believe it. And the fact that someone who's one of the best film analysts in the game is saying this outside of, the 275 loop, it's great to have that kind of reassurance.
No doubt. Now, what Joe Burrow says, whether he's in the 275 loop, outside of the 275 loop, in the country, out of the country, what still matters. Joe Burrow doesn't think Dexter Lawrence is 2 or 3 or 8 or 22. He thinks he's number 1. Here's Joey B on Sexy Dexy.
Got the best D tackle in the league, in my opinion. He's bigger and stronger than everybody. And, getting to know him, means a lot to him. He wants to go out and perform well and assert his will. So when you have a guy like that, it's going to be exciting to watch for me and be a part of. Yeah, I was fired up, obviously. Tough to find a guy at pick number 10 that's going to have more of an impact than Dexter will. And so it's exciting that we went and made that happen.
Joe Burrow high on the move. And I always go back to that. Like, what is Joe saying about this stuff? He could have been far more lukewarm on it and said, oh, yeah, we think Dexter's going to make a major impact. But no, best defensive tackle in the league. Not going to find someone at pick 10 that's nearly as good as him. All of those things, and that was from May, his first time talking this offseason. But I think it's noteworthy. We'll keep coming back to that clip probably between now and camp anytime Dexter Lawrence comes up. Because if Joe Burrow thinks he's that good and he's prepared against him, he's probably that good.
Exactly. And Joe Burrow just isn't going to say something like that just for the sake of saying it. He truly believes it because Joe also knows his words are going to be consumed across socials, across the NFL world, and everyone's going to dissect what he is saying. So the fact that Joe is saying that means a lot. It carries a lot. And it's also giving that reassurance, I think, to both Dexter and the rest of this locker room and fan base that, yeah, the Bengals went out, got a difference maker, one of the best defensive linemen to add to bolster this defense so they can be a lot better than they were the last 2 years.
Absolutely. And Dexter's production took a step back last year, but the production as an interior defensive lineman is only about half of the battle here. And I think that's what's part of what's so exciting for a lot of people both in the fan base and in the building, including, I assume, Joe. As much as Dex affects everyone else in that defensive line and on the defense, playing at a true nose tackle position over the center, getting double teamed as much as he did, like Marisa just said. But even last year in a down year for the production, it's what he does when he's on the field that makes a huge difference. The Giants, when Dexter was off the field last year, were 32nd in yards per attempt, 31st in sack rate, and 27th in EPA per pass. When Dexter was on the field, they were 8th in yards per attempt, 9th in sack rate, and 10th in EPA per pass. He didn't just make them a fine defense. He took them from a defense ranked in the 30s in a 32-team league to a defense in the top 10. How much he can sway a team when he's on the field for his impact at the interior position is second to none. Because even the other names that are thrown out for the best interior lineman in football, they're not the true nose, not at the rate that Dexter is. The fact that he has this much impact from a true over-the-center nose tackle position more often than not is remarkable. And that's why he's such an outlier compared to the rest of the league.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. The fact that you get a guy that could command the double teams, get the pressure from that nose tackle spot. It just wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to be something that they could find in the draft. They knew that. And I do think they were in on Caleb Banks, 10th overall. Can you imagine? I mean, that's a big difference. Caleb Banks, often injured, a guy that is very much a projection. There was that Dallas Cowboy scout that said, hey, the rumor has it that they're interested in Peter Woods with the 10th pick. And who knows how accurate that was. But
I'll take Dexter.
Not even close. Like, can you imagine them passing on Reuben Bain for one of those two guys and how it would feel? Or passing on Caleb Downs had he made it there? I'm not sure he would have. But had he made it to 10?
Right. And who knows, any of those players you just mentioned could end up being all pros, Pro Bowlers, first teams down the road. It's not going to happen their rookie season. So, yeah, go out, get the sure thing in Dexter Lawrence because he has more than proven it over the last couple of years as he went those 3 straight years as a Pro Bowler. He's one of the best. It's crazy that this is even an argument and that he's not getting that kind of recognition like we saw yesterday on the show that we were talking about that he's listed 8th. I'm still upset by that, clearly.
Is it an argument? One source had him listed 8, and it seems like everyone else in the world has him top 5 at least.
I don't know, man. I think there are a lot of people that think that he's back 9, regressing, all of those things.
Because of the numbers in the year last year.
Yeah.
But
like I think nationally it is not viewed. I think we're the outlier.
Really?
Yes.
I feel like for the most part he's not 8 though. It's top 5.
Yeah, I don't know how many people actually have defensive tackle rankings. There's not.
Right.
But what I mean is, like, impact-wise, is he a game-changing talent or just still a good football player? I think there are plenty of national people that think, oh, just a good football player at this stage.
Yeah. Hope not.
You know what? Let him think that. He's in Cincinnati.
Ooh, let him think that. Yeah, we will dive more into the Bengals. We have our What's the Word poll question next. Plus, how many contract extensions will the Bengals get done before training camp? That coming up at 8 right here on First Word.